What's up, everybody? Chantel E. Jameson here with a video tip of the week. For those of you who are friends with me on social media, you know, every day, maybe a couple of times a day, I post a love tip, you know, as a status. And these statuses are meant to encourage and help you to, you know, give love another try in every capacity, whether it's love and romance, whether it's friendship. It's definitely involving self-love and empowerment. Just little tidbits that get you through moments, whether they're moments of joy, pain, uncertainty, trust, distrust, whatever. I hope that my love tips do help. So, you know, every once in a while I do post a video love tip because sometimes the things that I have to say are more worthy of video as opposed to a status. So I want to talk about trauma in your environment. Earlier this week, I was talking to a client of mine because I'm a life coach, and he was explaining to me a little bit about his background, his past. And we got on the subject of him living in the South. He's originally from Chicago, but he moved south because he heard that the opportunities were better there. And he quickly came back. I think he was down there for about a year, if I remember correctly. And the reason why he moved back home was because of the racism. And his cousin, because he had family down there, was like, man, that's just how it is. You know, you'll get used to it. And he's like, I'm not getting used to this. I'm not getting used to somebody calling me the N-word or being called boy or looking at Confederate flags or wondering why I can't go on this part of town past 10 p.m. No. So he came back home. And it got me to thinking about how our environments not only shape our reality, but influence our perception and our perspective regarding love and other people. So if you are familiar with the criminal justice system or just how psychology works, it is no shock that a person who has been incarcerated has a higher probability of going back to jail. I've met people who actually want to go back to jail, you know, even though it's prison, some of the harshest conditions. Yes, they're fed 3 square meals a day, but the food is crap. Depending on your security level, whether it's medium security or maximum security or whatever, you have an increased probability of violence and or death. You are literally caged in a cell like a zoo animal. All of these you know, characteristics of prison life that, you know, is supposedly meant to deter you from going back are terrible. But when a person gets out of jail after serving, say, 12, 13 years behind bars, they come into a world of freedom, but they're not free because the technology has changed. The times have changed. Everything has changed, from music to how people cook food now, to how people live, to how people get around. Before they were locked up, there probably was no ride share. You know, the internet wasn't as popular. Social media wasn't as popular. All of these things that we, you know, the people, civilians who, you know, have not been locked up, have had the opportunity to get used to and kind of explore, is new to them. So they want to go back home. They want to go back home. You know, not to mention how difficult it may be to find employment and a sustainable living situation. So they do something illegal for a number of reasons, you know, other than the ones that I've mentioned. It's deeper than that. And they end up back home. Now, why would this happen? You know, somebody who has not been locked up before, you're not trying to go back. Well, during prison, and even when people who move away and they say they're never coming back or whatever, you adjust to your environment. You adjust to the conditions. You cope with the conditions. You get used to the conditions so you can survive. You know, it's kind of like individuals who live in communities with gun violence. You don't even flinch when you hear gunshots because you're used to it. I realized that that was something that was terribly wrong about 6 years ago when I kept cooking or doing whatever I was doing when people were shooting outside my house. You know? And the same thing with relationships. So if you mess with the wrong person long enough, if you allow yourself to be subjected to trauma, mistreatment, being taken for granted, mental, physical, verbal, emotional abuse, you are going to assimilate and get used to that, and you are going to come to expect that from people. You are going to adopt a narrative of trauma versus one of triumph. You are not going to be able to recognize when a great, wonderful, sweet, sane, stable, secure person comes into your life. You are going to question them, and you're going to constantly wait for the other shoe to drop because you have assimilated, you have chosen to assimilate into bullshit. So that's my little love tip. You know, I really want you guys to consider not assimilating to bullshit. Trauma is not normal. Not trusting your mate is not normal. Pushing healthy relationships and wonderful people away is not normal. So assess your environment. Assess who you are allowing into your space. And make excellent decisions for yourself. All right. Till next time, y'all have a dope week.